All right, today in geometry, we're looking at section 3.1, identify pairs of lines and angles. Let's start out with some vocabulary. A line is a set of points and extends in both directions without ending. Two lines are intersecting if they meet each other at some point. Two lines are either parallel or skew if they never intersect each other. Parallel lines do not intersect and are coplanar, so they are in the same plane. Skew lines do not intersect and are not coplanar, so they would not be in the same plane. Parallel planes do not intersect. Two lines are perpendicular if they meet each other at a right angle. A transversal is a line that intersects two or more coplanar lines at different points. So then I just have some pictures of these. So here you can see parallel lines. They stay at the same distance apart and they never cross. Intersecting lines cross at one point. Perpendicular lines intersect and form right angles, and we denote the right angle with the little box. Skew lines are on different planes and do not intersect. And then over here I have examples. So line AB and line CD are parallel lines because they're in the same plane and never intersect. Line CD and line BE are skew lines because they are not in the same plane and therefore will never intersect. And then an example of parallel planes. Planes U and W are parallel planes. When we talked about planes at the beginning of chapter 1, we talked about planes that would never intersect. Real life examples such as the ceiling and the floor. Right, so then we've got some postulates. So the first one, the parallel postulate. If there's a line and a point not on the line, then there's exactly one line through the point parallel to the given line. So if there's a line, so let's draw a line down here. And we'll label this A and B. And then a point not on that line, so let's say I have point C up here. And there's exactly one line that goes through C that is parallel to AB. And then we have our perpendicular postulate. If there's a line and a point not on the line, then there's exactly one line through the point perpendicular to the given line. So again, let's draw a line and we'll label it AB again. And then another point not on that line, C. One line through C that is perpendicular to line AB, and we're going to put that little right angle there. All right, so let's look at some examples of this. So we have this drawing over here, and it says what street is parallel to Clark Street. So here's Clark Street. So what street is parallel to that? We have Lewis and John Fremont. So we have Lewis and also John Fremont Street. Those two lines are both parallel to Clark Street. And then what street is perpendicular to Sacagawea Lane? So here's Sacagawea Lane. Again, we have two lines that are perpendicular to that. We have Lewis and Clark. All right, let's go to the back. Look at some more examples. All right, so example number 1 on the back, identify relationships in space. Think of each segment in the figure as part of a line. Which line or lines or plane or planes in the figure appear to fit the description? So number 1, we're looking for what line or lines are parallel to line CD and contain point A. So parallel to CD contains point A. The only line that's going to be is line AB. So this would be line AB. Number 2, lines skew to CD and containing point A. Okay. So skew means that they're not going to be in the same plane as CD. So anything that's not in the plane at the top. So let's see, I could have this line HA. So HA is not in that same plane. I could also have GA. So line GA is not in that plane at the top. Line EA. Remember, just because the line is not drawn doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And then finally, line FA. So we have those four. Your phone? All right, number 3, we want lines perpendicular to segment CD and containing point A. So perpendicular to CD, but also go through point A. So let's erase some of this so that we can look at that again. Okay, so perpendicular to CD goes through point A. Our only one is going to be AD, so line AD. And then number 4, we want the plane or planes that's parallel to plane EFG. So plane EFG here in the bottom. And contains point A. The only plane that's parallel to that is the top. More than one way we could name that plane, but one way is plane ABC. We could have named it plane BCA, plane BAC, plane CDA. Remember all the different options that we have of naming the plane. All right, so let's get some more vocabulary in. When a transversal intersects 2 or more lines in the same plane, a series of angles are formed. Certain pairs are given specific names based upon their locations in relation to the lines. So special angle pairs, and we need to know all of these. We're going to use these for the rest of the year. We have alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles are between the parallel lines and on alternating or opposite sides of the transversal. Then we have alternate exterior angles. These are angles on the outside, okay, the parallel lines and on alternating or opposite sides of the transversal. Then we have what's called corresponding angles. These are sometimes also called same side. So corresponding angles are on the same side of the transversal, but one is interior and the other is exterior. Corresponding means they sit in the same spot. And then we have what's called consecutive interior. Consecutive interior are sometimes called same side interior angles. These are between the parallel lines and on the same side of the transversal. So just an example of what a transversal is. Here it says if line M is parallel to N, so our notation for parallel lines is that, okay? So this says if M is parallel to N, then T is the transversal, okay? And also some more notation. If you see lines, okay, and they're marked like that, that means that they are parallel, okay? So M and N are parallel, T is the transversal because it intersects 2 or more lines in the same plane. Okay? All right, so next we're going to look at identifying the angles that we were talking about. Okay, so shade the appropriate angles. You might want some different colored pencils or pens in order to do this. So our interior angles, okay, we will have 4 of them. Okay, so there are 4 interior angles. These are angles that are in between the two parallel lines. So here's one. I'm going to switch colors. Here's another angle right here. This is a third angle, and this would be our fourth angle. Those are our 4 interior angles. Our exterior angles, again, we have 4 of them. These will be on the outside of the parallel lines on both sides of the transversal. So here's the first one, here's the second one, here's the third one, and here's the 4th exterior angle. So now let's talk about alternate interior angles. There will be 2 pairs of alternate interior angles. So I know this is an interior angle. So my alternate interior angle to that one, it's on the opposite side of my transversal. Okay, so down here, they're alternate, one on top, one on bottom, but both inside. Okay, so one on the left of the transversal at the top, one on the right of the transversal on the bottom. And then the other pair would just be this one and this one. Alternate exterior angles, again, there are 2 pairs of them. Same concept. So if I look at this exterior angle, this one is the alternate exterior angle to that. And then the other one would be this one and this one. Then let's look at consecutive interior. These are sometimes called same side interior. Again, there will be 2 pairs. So this is an interior angle. The consecutive or same side interior, it means it's on the same side of the transversal, would be that one right there. And then the other pair, this one and this one would be consecutive interior or same side interior. And remember, consecutive means one right after the other. Okay, so there's nothing in between them. And then corresponding angles. We will have 4 pairs of corresponding angles. So if I just start with this angle right here. Okay. Remember, corresponding, we said it sits in the same spot. So this one that I first marked, it's on the left of the transversal above the line. So I need to find another angle that's on the left of that transversal above a line. That would be that angle right there. All right, so now if I went to the left of the transversal below the line, I have this angle. Its corresponding angle that's also on the left below is right there. Now I can go to the right above, those 2 would be corresponding. And finally right below and right below, those 2 would be corresponding. All right, so now we're going to classify the angle pairs as either corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, or consecutive interior, or vertical. Remember our vertical angles as well. So let's first look at angle 10 and 14. So 10 and 14. They're on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are in between 2 parallel lines. So these are alternate interior. Number 2, we're looking at angle 8 and 2. So 8 and 2, those are vertical. We remember those. So now let's look at 12 and 4. So 12 and 4. All right, so I see that they are on the same side of a transversal. So I know that they are not one of my alternate interior or alternate exterior. Okay, so they both sit to the right of this transversal below a line. So they're sitting in the same spot. These are corresponding. 6 and 7. So here's 6, here's 7. Again, they are on the same side of the transversal, so I know they're not any of my alternates. But they're one right after the other, so this is consecutive interior. Consecutive interior. All right, I'm going to erase all of those so we can start back over with our colors. All right, so if we look at number 5, angle 2 and angle 3. So 2 and 3. Again, just like 6 and 7, they're on the same side of a transversal, one right after the other. So those are also consecutive interior. Angles 9 and 5. So 9 and 5. Okay. 9 and 5, they do not both touch the exact same line, so they don't have any transversal in common. So these are none of anything that we've talked about. Angle 4 and 6. 4 and 6, those are our verticals again. And finally, 1 and 3. 1 and 3. They're on the same side of the transversal, but they are not one right after the other. Okay, they're both to the left of that transversal and on top of a line, so they are corresponding. All right, so that does it for the notes over section 3.1, identifying pairs of lines and angles. Your homework over this is worksheet 3.1B. So it's 3.1B worksheet is the homework that covers this.